So, one of the fun things that I really like, really, one of the fun things I really like when we're doing events with other warriors is there's no pretense. There's no fakery. We're all broken. And we're at events like this to try and connect with one another. This reminds me of a story. I'm sure some of you might have actually heard it before. A young private was walking outside of camp, and he falls and finds himself lost, and he falls into a deep hole. And he hurts himself. And he starts crying out because he can't climb himself or find a way for himself to get out of the hole. And he starts yelling and yelling and yelling for help. Well, the chaplain walks by. And the chaplain takes one look in the hole. He goes, "Son, I haven't seen you at service. What are you doing? You need to pray. You need to get right with God. And that will help you get out of the hole." Now, I'm sure you all have heard really good, meaning people say similar things to you. I know I have. And then the chaplain walks away. Private, and he starts screaming, "Help, help, help!" And his captain walks up. His captain gets pissed. And he goes, "Son, you're an embarrassment to this unit. Who's your squad leader? He's not training you enough. You need to do more PT. Get your ass out of this hole. Come on, that's an order." And he walks away. I know I've heard that from my command before. And finally, a sergeant walks by, takes a look at the situation, sees that the guy is hurt, and he jumps into the hole. And as he starts taking care of the guy's injuries, the private goes, "What are you doing? Now we're both stuck here in the hole." And the sergeant goes, "It's okay. I've been here. I know where the footholds and the handholds are to get out." Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is Wounded Warrior Project. Warriors helping other warriors get out of the holes in their lives. Now, I've been listening all weekend long, and hearing several of y'all's stories, and I've shared a little bit about my story. It's very simple. Deployed many times, was in the Marine Corps for a while, was in the California National Guard for a while. I got hurt. Broke my neck, fractured my spine, TBI, PTSD, torn muscles, blah, blah, blah. Bullet holes here, do it there. Just like everybody else has been injured. At one time I was broken. And I survived like a lot of other guys did. Taking pain pills. And more pain pills. And even more pain pills. Till it numbed me of my situation. By the time I got home, I was stopped in life. I was not moving forward. I quit training. I quit working. I gained weight, a lot of weight. At one time I was 365 pounds, maybe 370. And I got angry. I mean angry. I would get angry at any little thing. And I sunk into my couch and I would watch the TV. I'd watch the news. And I kept getting deeper and deeper in my hole. It got so bad that one time I screamed, "Amanda!" at my elementary school daughter. And I chewed her out. But she did something so unique, so cool. She just stopped, looked up at me with those big brown eyes. Daddy, what's the matter? Daddy, what's wrong? Broke my heart. Because I was no longer being daddy to her. I was like, what do I gotta do to be daddy to my daughters? Because I was no longer a good soldier. I was no longer a good husband. And now I'm not even being a good daddy. So, next morning, I got up and I just started Googling. Got on the Google machine. Veteran organizations. I started calling. I started calling. I started calling. I got voicemail, upon voicemail, upon voicemail, upon voicemail. And I'm sure each and every one of you have at one time or another have felt that feeling. I'm broken. I realize I'm broken. I'm reaching out for help. And no one's helping me. I was lucky. 17 minutes later, a representative from Wounded Warrior Project called me back. I met him for lunch. And during our conversation, he goes, you know what? I know what you need. You're a physical guy. You need to go do some exercise. So we're going to have something called a soldier ride in Phoenix, Arizona next week. Can you go? It's like, yeah. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the first ever Wounded Warrior Project Soldier Ride t-shirt. I still have it. That soldier ride changed the trajectory of my life. I met other warriors. I made friends. Friends who are lifelong friends. Friends who I could call. Friends who would call me. And it changed the trajectory of my life. I realized that I needed to get myself right. Mentally. Physically. And I needed to be a help to other warriors. The more that I started helping other warriors, and the more I got involved with Wounded Warrior Project, the more encouragement to myself to go get my mental health worked on, to be my spiritual life worked on, to get my emotional life worked on. As I helped others start on their path, I was able to proceed forward in my path. Now, I would love to tell you that everything's sunshine and rainbows, and it's going to be milk and cookies. But I screwed up. Time and time again. The good book says, a good man falls 7 times, but rises up 8. And as warriors, as people in the military, people who have fought, people who have been in bad situations, we understand it's not the falling down, it's the rising up. About 6 years ago, my wife died of cancer. And I hit a wall. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, it floored me. I stopped working with WWP. I stopped working with everybody. And I started having some really negative thoughts. But I tell you one thing. You know who I called? Those guys from the first soldier ride. They were the guys who talked me through the bad nights. They were the guys who let me vent. Vent about God. Vent about the system. Vent about the VA. Vent about every little thing. And they just listened. After my wife died and I hit that wall, I lost my job. I'd been working in education. I was a truancy officer, and the district cut the position. So that's when Wounded Warrior Project stepped back in. One of the guys said, "Hey, why don't you call the Warriors to Work people?" And I did. And I did their evaluation and their testing, and they said, with your experience and with your personality and with your knowledge, best thing for you, best job for you is being a personal trainer. So, sat down with the lady one afternoon. She redid my resume, put in all my strengths, took out my weaknesses, did everything she needed to do to make it look pretty. Made a phone call to Lifetime Fitness, and I was able to get on at Lifetime Fitness. She even helped me with interview prep, and they found a jacket that fit my shoulders. So when I went in for the interview, I looked professional. And they've done that with hundreds upon hundreds of people. Like I said, my story is not different than anyone else's. Called the Resource Center. And they were able to find someone in my area, not having to travel forever, in my area that took my insurance and understood what it would be like to deal with a combat veteran who had lost his wife. And for the next 2 years, I worked on me. I worked on being the best dad that I could be. My daughters were grieving, and I was helping them the best I knew how. And because I did the work and spent the time working on my emotions, working on my spiritual life, working on who I am as a person, God brought Kim into my life. She's not my wife. And it was because I had done the work and taken the time, I was ready to fall in love again. And we knew it was the right time. I did a really good job at Lifetime in California, and I got recruited to move to one of the premier clubs here in Texas. So I got married and moved the first month of the pandemic.
Wow.
We actually had a Zoom wedding. Her and I were there, the preacher, 5 people on either side, and everyone watched on Zoom. So that was kind of unique. We moved here, got a house, and everything was good because I had done the work. I'm still involved in fitness. As I've shared with several of you guys, since that first soldier ride, I've done about a dozen Tough Mudders, I've done a dozen Spartan races, I've done several centuries, done several CrossFit competitions. In 2016, I was on CBS when they had the 10 veterans for the Triumph Games. I ended up in 5th at that time, but I mean, they had some really Mongol monster athletes there, and I was the big guy. I got to lift everything. Right now, I'm actually nationally ranked in the Masters in Strongman. I just got done competing in America's Strongest Veteran and took 5th in Virginia. I get the chance to pull trucks. In February, I'm going to Marine Corps Base Yuma for a Strongman Invitational. And we get to attempt, all you Air Force guys and aviation guys are gonna laugh probably at this one, but we get to attempt to pull a C-140. So I'm looking forward to that. When you guys see me dip out here or you see me in the gym, I'm training for that because next month I am competing with 23 other guys to be the strongest old man in America. But I've been able to do that through the personal health and wellness group with the WWP, with guys like you who are doing soldier rides. If you had told me in 2013 or 2014 at that first soldier ride that I would be working, helping to fix broken people. That's my job. I get to fix broken people. One of my favorite clients is a guy who is 82 years old. He's had 3 strokes. I've gotten the opportunity to retrain him how to walk. And last month, I got him to flip a tire. Just for the fun of it. Just to say, hey, you can do it. And now he has got so much confidence in how much stronger he's doing. Like I said, after that first soldier ride, if you'd have told me that my job would be to fix broken people, and I would still be competing in my 50s, I would have laughed. You know why? All I could see was the hole that I was in. All I could see was no handholds, no footholds. See, you have to have purpose in your lives. That is key. So many of our brothers and sisters, when they don't have purpose, that's the reason why we have that 22 a day. Because they've lost their purpose. They've lost why they're here. My purpose right now happens to be a 2-year-old little boy. I'm the father of 6 daughters. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter. And never, ever trust the VA when they say you cannot have kids.
Amen.
So I have a 33-year-old and I have a 2-year-old and everything in between. 6 girls, a granddaughter. I was surrounded by estrogen. Luckily, Junior came along, and now I have someone to play with. All right? But my job is to show him and to help him grow up to be a man. And to do that, I got to be fit. I've got to be functional. And I can't just do that being mentally functional, because if you lose your physical, you lose your mental. That's what this generation of people need. We, in a lot of senses, are the lucky ones. So many people I have talked to from Vietnam when they came back, from Korea when they came back. It was so different. We were appreciated. When I came back from Desert Storm in Somalia, we were appreciated. When I came back from Iraq, we were appreciated. We are the lucky ones. We need to be out there showing love showing encouragement, showing support to our community. And I'm not just simply talking veterans, I'm talking about the people inside your own circle. I'm sure, as I've been talking, you've been thinking about someone who you could probably encourage. You could probably say something nice to, help out, or even be willing to jump in the hole with them. When we are done with all this, I strongly say, take out your phone. Send them a text. Something small, something encouraging. Make plans, have lunch, have dinner, and talk to them. And more importantly, listen. We have an opportunity to be that generation of warriors who changes this generation. I truly believe that. We have seen so much and we have done so much. We can make a difference in the people around us. Thank you.